Welcome to our Lubgert, a medieval herb garden installation at Sligo Abbey. Sligo Abbey is actually a Dominican friary that was established in 1252, and we know that they maintained a certain level of self-sufficiency because a grant of the land in 1604 lists gardens and orchards as well as the buildings. And we also know that they had two fish weirs along the Garavogue River. As the lockdown sent many of us out into our gardens this spring, we started to wonder what the gardens here at Sligo Abbey would have looked like. And so for Heritage Week 2020, we have created a potted herb garden installation and installed it in the corner of our cloister garth. So the Old Irish for herb garden is Lubgert, and one of the 7 offices of the church is Lubgerture, which was essentially like the head gardener. As the monastic orders were spreading through Ireland, they were bringing with them an update on medical theory, which was based very much in Greek texts that were being translated at the time. So classical Greek understanding of miasmas, that a bad smell was going to bring disease into the body, and as such they needed to be surrounded by good smells. Something like this chamomile here is a very aromatic plant. The entire plant smells nice, and so to kind of infuse your world with these pleasant smells is going to protect you from the unpleasant smells that might bring disease into your body. The physic garden with the medicinal plants may have been in the cloister, which is where we are now, and gardening was sort of an extension of the medicinal space. To go and be in the beauties of a garden is going to be healing, and they really needed to maintain their health. Once you got sick in the medieval period, it was hard to get better. So routine, falling into this idea of toil, weeding the garden is sort of a natural toll for original sin. Tansy is a plant that was used to expel intestinal worms, so it's a vermicide, and it's one that you see growing along the side of the road from time to time. This would be an archaeophyte, so it's a plant that was introduced before 1500 that has now sort of naturalized in many areas around the country. Greater mullein is another example of an archaeophyte, which you can see to my left shoulder in the interview. It was grown as a medicinal herb for bronchial cough. It was also a dye plant, and it has quite a long seed dormancy period. So you can see that it's popped up here at St. Mary's Church in Gowring, County Kilkenny. And in Sligo Abbey, we have pellitory of the wall growing everywhere, and that used to be a treatment for kidney ailments. So plants like these are considered relics of the gardens that were here in the past. Cress is something that often features in hagiographies, the stories of saints' lives. There are many stories about saints living on cress and wild garlic alone. We have watercress here, which perhaps they encouraged along their river frontage. We also have yellow cress or winter cress. Celery was a very popular vegetable along with leeks and other plants in the onion family, which were encouraged as Lenten foods. Along with parsley as a favorite flavoring herb, we also have sweet cicely, which has a lovely anise seed sort of smell and flavor, and that was a favorite in flavoring pottages. Some weeds have sprung up with this bay tree, but they wouldn't have been considered weeds to the friars that gardened here. Sow thistle was a pot herb that was commonly eaten, and nettles as well, which are very high in iron, or something that they would have eaten. Parsley is often served as a garnish because it naturally sweetens the breath. So next time you have a garnish of parsley on your plate, you eat that last, and it sweetens your breath. Figs were a common import, and in fact quite a cheap one, and bloodletting was a regular part of the friars' lives. And after you have blood drawn, perhaps they give you a cookie. After they had blood drawn, they were given figs. So figs are something that you might expect to see as part of their diet, along with the things that they were growing themselves and the fish they caught out of the river. There are so many more plants in our installation, so if you'd like to learn more, please join us for a virtual guided tour of our Lubgert on Saturday the 22nd of August at 4 p.m. You can email emma.timoney@opw.ie to register. I'd like to say a big thank you to everybody who contributed plants and information for this project. Thank you.